Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessie, this is Ben.
Hello.
My husband. We're gonna do a little bit of a pregnancy Q&A today. I have a couple of questions, well there's a good amount, so we'll see how many we get through, that I got from people on YouTube and Instagram, and then just a couple of other random ones that we've been asked before.
Yep.
That I thought would be interesting. So we're gonna try not to ramble, but we're rambly people, so let's jump into it. If you're new here, I'm in my third trimester. I just hit the 9-month pregnant mark, so I'm 36 weeks to yesterday. Also, so if I sound out of breath, it's because I am. So the first question is, if you guys don't know, we don't know the sex of the baby, and we won't be finding that out until birth. So the first question is, what is your gut reaction, boy or girl?
This is mine. I don't know, I feel like it's been kind of interesting. I feel like there have been some oscillations. I think like early on we were like, oh, it feels like it's gonna be a girl, and then I think we were a little bit thrown off, and not like in a bad way, but when we did our ultrasound, okay, that was the 20-week one, she was like, since we're not finding out the sex, she's like, I just use him all the time unless you know what you're having.
Yeah.
And so she just like went through.
Before she even did the ultrasound.
Yeah, she just like went through and said him for everything. And I think like, because in that setting, it was the first time for us that things felt really real, because of like just like how real it was with the ultrasound and stuff like that. We latched on to that a little bit. Would you agree? Okay.
Yeah, I think I've thought it was a girl since the beginning, and then that threw me off, and for a while I was like sure it was a boy.
Yeah. And
now I would say that I'm back to being pretty, like, a little bit more confident that it's a girl, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It could be either. I think I said this in our last Q&A, like, I only grew up around girls, so like the idea of having like a baby boy, I literally can't picture, because I wasn't ever around baby boys.
Yeah.
So we have no idea. We'll find out. We'll be happy with either. That's another question people ask sometimes, is like, what do you prefer?
Yeah, I would say, I was gonna say though, like, I've personally swung back a little bit, and I think you have too. I feel like it's gonna be a girl.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised with either, but that's kind of my
pink and blue and
initial. Oh yeah.
What are you most worried about after birth? So this could be for both of us. I'll go first, and Ben's might be similar. I think we're both pretty worried about sleep, and I know that that's gonna be a thing that happens, so we're trying not to worry about it. Ben and I both have I have an autoimmune disease. He has chronic something that we still don't know what it is. And sleep is definitely something that we need in order to feel good. So I think that we're a little nervous about that transition. And then I would say the other thing that I'm most worried about after birth is we're just alone out here. So we don't really have anybody to call if we need something, if, you know, one of us gets sick or whatever, anything like that. It's kind of just on us. We don't have anybody that can get here quickly, but we knew that going into it. So I would say those are like my biggest fears, but I'm not like sitting here being anxious about it all the time.
Yeah, I would agree. I think really the sleep thing is just the biggest, you know, worried about being exhausted or the way that it affects both of us. It just has like negative impacts on other aspects of health and like mental health and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's the biggest one for me. I was trying to think of like something else though. I was like, is there anything else that I'm really concerned about? And I feel like not really. And that's not to like say that there won't be like challenges.
Yeah, we have no idea what to expect. So I think that's part of it too, is we're just like...
I just feel like so supported by the fact that I get time off. For those of you that have followed us for a while, like, we're actually in a decent financial position where it's not super stressful, whereas in the past that would have been stressful to like, oh, you know, one of us needs to get back to work. Feel like pretty good otherwise. Like I said, not that things aren't going to be challenging, but we have space, and it's literally like we can focus on baby and we don't have other things to worry about.
The next one is, do you think you'll go before or after your due date? Which is funny, because I just put up a story about this on Instagram.
This is a very emotionally charged question, apparently.
When you're 36 weeks pregnant and like can barely walk, don't ask other people when they think you'll go, because they'll all tell you that you'll go late because it's your first baby, and like I cannot imagine going late. So if I go with my gut, which might be influenced by
hopefulness,
I I hope and I think that I will go before my due date. My due date isn't until December 21st, a little over a month away, or a little under a month away, I should say. Just physically, I really want to go before my due date. But I don't know if I'll go like way earlier or anything like that. I'm hoping it's before.
I think before. I keep telling Jessie I feel like it's gonna happen within the 2 weeks before her due date. So anywhere between like December 7th and December 21st.
The next question is, do you want more children?
Oh, we were done with the other question?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
you said it. You answered it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I feel like it's hard to answer that definitively, having not had one. For me, yes, with the understanding that we haven't had one. I've always thought like 2 or 3 kids would be wonderful. Personally, my family, I have 3 siblings. My cousins, there was like a handful of them, so they have multiple siblings, and we hung out with them a bunch. And to me, it's just like the whole, like the only child thing is kind of weird to me. And if you're an only child, or if you know, like you only have 1 kid, that's nothing against that, because we could very well end up in that position too, like who knows. In terms of like want, at this point in time, without really knowing how raising a child goes, yes.
Yeah, I think when we blindly used to talk about it, we were like, yeah, 2, 3 kids, probably 3. If you would have asked me first trimester, I would have told you that I was never doing it again. In fact, if you would have asked me up until probably like 26 weeks, I would have told you no, because it was a very difficult first trimester for me and partial second trimester. I think I would be open to it again. We just would need to be in a space where we had more help. Because if I get as sick as I did before, I mean, Ben did everything that he could, but if we had like a toddler running around, there's no way we'd be able to do it by ourselves. So that's something that's kind of a piece of it. I also want to see like what birth is like, what happens there. I'm also like almost 35, so like we might not be able to have more kids. I don't think we would ever go down the IVF route either, just because financially I don't think it's something we'd ever be able to do. There's a lot of what ifs. I think if everything went perfectly and we had all of the things that we needed, I think that we would have at least 2, but it kind of depends on how things go.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like we have to go with the flow at this point.
The next question is, what's your biggest craving? Which I guess is toward me.
Yeah, do you want to know about my cravings?
Ben craves
Probably not.
everything. I didn't really have any cravings besides like I was having like textile cravings. So like soft blankets, soft, like I've always been like a texture person, but it like amped up. Not to eat, but to touch.
To
like
clarify,
I wanted like very cozy, soft things, and I still think that's a big one. I will say in the last couple of weeks, I've definitely been craving sugar more. Yeah. So I've had like more soda, I've had more candy, I've had more chocolate chip cookies, like that kind of stuff, which really wasn't something. I really have not liked food this entire pregnancy, and I still would say that I don't love food. But I would say that that's probably amped up a little bit. Orange juice was a craving for a while. I feel like I'll get like an intense craving for like a day or 2, and then I like don't want it anymore.
For a while,
Mashed
it was
potatoes.
like chocolate shakes from the local fast food joint over here.
Yeah.
So it's just been like random things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hasn't been anything insane where it's like I can only eat mashed potatoes.
Yeah, or like pickles and something together. Like, to be honest, I haven't eaten many pickles, which is funny because I love pickles, but
right. Well, and you don't normally, because she mentioned it, love sweets. Like I'm the sweet tooth guy.
I like if they're in front of me, I'll eat them, but
you don't crave it like I do, right?
No.
I'm a dessert person, and she's like,
whereas I've been
whatever.
like, can you make me more chocolate chip cookies?
Yeah. I'm like, wait a second, didn't I make those yesterday?
Yeah.
She's like, yes, you did. Where's the second batch?
Yeah, I ate 8 in 24 hours. So so that has definitely amped up a little bit. The next question is, what's been the best and most challenging parts of being pregnant and as the partner of someone being pregnant? The best part about being pregnant has been 2 things. One, once I started to be able, it's getting dark. Sorry if the light changes, we're dealing with natural light here. The best part has been being able to feel it move. Once I started to be able to feel that, which was, I had, apparently I just found this out, an anterior placenta. So like it makes sense why I didn't feel baby move as much until later in the pregnancy. But now it's definitely made it easier for me to like connect with it because I can feel it.
Yeah.
And it responds to me. If I like push on it or whatever, it'll kind of push back. That's been cool. But honestly, not selfishly, but like about me, this pregnancy has like totally opened up. It's opened me up to me again. Like I was in a very bad depressive state for most of 2020 and 2021. And this pregnancy has made us closer. We've been able to work through some really hard things. I have been able to be compassionate with myself, which is something that I have never been able to do. Just like very nice to myself. I'm a hyper productive, hyper like type A over functioner, and when you get knocked down where you like literally just have to survive and depend on your partner. I mean, that was me for like the first good amount of this pregnancy throughout the beginning of second trimesters. It has just kind of opened my eyes up to like, I can trust Ben to do things. I don't always have to be the person that does everything. I can be more compassionate with myself when I don't feel well, like all of these things that I truly just like never could do before. I kind of was put in a situation where I was forced to, and it really helped. So I feel, not physically, but I feel mentally more myself, and even like a better version of myself than before. A lot of people tell you that like pregnancy will change you, and it did for me. And so like that's been like, I mean, I could do like a whole video on it, but
yeah,
I just feel so much more myself again. Most challenging for me has just been being sick.
Yeah, the beginning was just so hard.
Yeah, that was really hard. Being alone, that's been hard. Meaning not having anyone but Ben. Like he's been spectacular, but I don't have any friends here. I don't have any family here. It's hard for people to stay connected to you when you live so far away, even if they want to. That's been probably the hardest, is going through this like life-altering thing and not having anyone to be there for me truly besides Ben. Ben has 100%, but sometimes it's hard when it's just him and I don't have anybody else. It's been the best and most challenging part of being the partner in a pregnancy.
I think it's actually the same thing. And Jesse gave me credit, which I appreciate. But that's really been it, is I've been forced to step up and be there for her in full support mode. And
that the best or most challenging?
Both.
Yeah.
It's both. Like first trimester was hard, but it was also really meaningful. And for, you know, we haven't done like a ton on it, but we've talked about our past here and there and like struggles that we've had relationally and things like that. Despite it being so challenging, it really did bring us together more and was really healing in a lot of ways. And like both of us, you know, feel like, because we've talked about it, like we agree that like while it sucked, we wouldn't trade that. Like it was so beneficial for us both individually. You know, Jesse gained self-compassion. I gained some of this trust in myself back, that I could support her, that I had lost when I had been sick a few years back. So that, I mean, it was just like the most meaningful part. And then like even in general, outside of that, like the first trimester, same goes for the whole time. Like it's just really helped me lean into not being selfish. I've always been selfish, and I don't say that necessarily like a bad way. Like I'm a good person and I have a good heart, but I've always been the center of my world, and I stayed independent very long and didn't date and like all these things because I was so focused on me, which has led to a lot of really great things. But at this point in my life now, it's all about family and Jesse and baby. So for me, the best part has been growing as a human, as a man, and as a prospective father.
Do you have any names picked out? And then the bonus question that went with this was, which Harry Potter name are you using? Because Ben's cousin Andrew wanted to know. You know what? If there was a Harry Potter name that I could use that I loved, I would 100%. But for some reason, the names in Harry Potter have
Hermione.
they've never Ben for me? This is a funny question. We got this at my baby shower and the response was very funny to me. It was, do you have any names picked out? And I said yes. And they said, and they waited for me to tell them. And then I was like, I'm not telling you. Yeah. Like, so yeah, we obviously have 2 names picked out. Well, we have a couple. We have some backups. Ben and I are very fluid with our decision making, also known as we change our mind a lot. We have 2 main names that we love for a girl and a boy that we've loved for years. We actually just changed one of the middle names like the other day. So this is what I mean is we're like, oh wait, that sounds kind of better. We do have 2 names picked out. We have a couple of backup names just in case it comes out and we're like, wait, that doesn't fit, but we're not telling anyone.
To kind of like take this in a slightly different direction, we did a bringing baby home class through the hospital. Was it last week?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
She started, you know, like the icebreaker she did was tell me where you're having baby, how far along you are, and baby's name, and sex, like what are you having? And so they're asking these questions, and both of us were, like, I could feel it in the moment, but then we talked about it afterwards, and we were both like, who the hell tells the name of their kid?
Right.
Like,
and she like kind of was pushy about it.
She was pushy about it,
yeah.
and she was like very nice otherwise, but she was like kind of like weirdly pushy.
She's like, at least make a fake name up then. And I just like couldn't.
And Jesse couldn't make a fake name up. No, it was fine because it was a room of people that we'll never see again. But it was like,
right.
I don't know. We both thought it was so tacky. We're like, do people really tell people the names they have picked out?
And they totally can, but like don't like force somebody to, you know.
I don't know.
The person asking this question was 100% not forcing it. So we're not saying that.
I just personally, I'm like, I would never tell somebody the name beforehand. I don't know. Like, it's not something I really think twice about. I just wouldn't share it.
No, and I think too, people, again, A, because we'd probably change our mind. And B, because for me, if I got a lot of reactions of people being like, ooh, I would be so offended. And then I probably would start to overthink the name. Right. And I would rather go with what I want and like what my gut says. And like we thankfully have always, even with naming Cora and Finn, when we've come up with stuff, one of us or both of us, we've been like, oh yeah, we like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, so we do have 2 names. We will tell you when baby comes out because that might also be when we're figuring out what the name is. Who will be with you during labor? So Ben, obviously. And then we have our doula, Laura. So she will be there with us as well, just kind of advocating for me, helping Ben and I get through labor stuff.
Bossing me around, like just put me to work, tell me what to do. Don't make me think on my feet. Just tell me, I mean I can, but like just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Well,
and I've always been a little bit afraid of birth, so she'll be there to advocate for me if I'm nervous about something. If the doctors are pushy about something, she can kind of step in and help. So we really like her. We've met with her a couple times now, but now we won't see her again until birth. Just those 2. Nobody else will be coming to the hospital because they don't live here. Yeah. So
and we didn't invite anybody to be here for that either.
Do you have a birth plan? And are you going natural or medicated? I'm gonna change that to medicated or unmedicated because I think all birth is natural no matter what you do, even C-section. We do have a birth plan. Our doula helped us with that. It's like a birth preference, I think is what people call it,
Just because like plan is such a strong term for once you get into that situation.
So. There's things that you don't know that you have to think about, like, you know, there's things that they give baby or like golden hour or delayed cord clamping. We've kind of talked with that with our doula. For the most part, we want that to be as much delay as they can do for that kind of stuff. We would prefer having golden hour, which is where the baby is like just with you basically on mom for the first hour. Then we'll do skin to skin with Ben as well, which is very important. Yeah, we've talked about all kinds of different things that go with us. Like we're gonna have music playing, we're gonna have like low lighting whenever possible. I'm going to try to labor in different positions. I don't really want to just lay there the whole time unless that's what needs to happen. I think that's kind of what we're going into it. Like we're very open to, if there is an emergency, if there's something happening, I trust my doula and my doctors to help me us make the right decision. So I'm not like stuck on any of this stuff. And then the medicated versus unmedicated, I'm going into it assuming that I will get the epidural at some point, and I'm just gonna see how it goes. I think the thing for me with the epidural is I have fear around the strength of my body. So if I'm in labor for hours and hours and hours and I'm exhausted and I can't eat and all these things and my body needs the break, I would rather be able to remember and enjoy my birth versus being so exhausted that it takes me even more time to recalibrate from that, because I think it's already going to be exhausting and overwhelming. So I'm going into it assuming that at some point I will get the epidural, but I'm open to not. I'm preparing for not, because a lot of times the epidural doesn't work or, you know, something like that happens. So I want to be prepared with like things I can do in case of that. I'm not planning on going there and getting the epidural at like 3 centimeters, but maybe I will. I have no idea. I think that's the other thing is like we've made this preference, but it really just will depend on what's happening. Neither of us have ever been through something like this before. So we'll see what's going on and how I'm feeling and go from there.
I don't have much to add to that, basically, because Jesse kind of said it, so I'm just gonna like come back to that, which is, I think the idea is essentially just to have as much of a joy-filled birthing process as possible.
Right.
And I'm not saying, like, you know, for me as a man to be saying that, but I'm saying it in terms of like being able to be it's present. Going to be challenging, right? Like, regardless of how it goes. But yes, to be present, to have it to be an intimate experience for both of us. Like our doula expressed that to us right away. She's like, my job is to allow you to be in the moment and have this like beautiful experience with each other. And again, I know that might sound flowery to some people, but beautiful in the sense of like, it's a really fucking cool thing, right?
Right.
And so the idea is to do whatever it takes to make that as enjoyable as possible, because like birth is trauma, right, for both mom and baby, to just keep the ceiling of that trauma relatively low.
Yeah. Will you record labor? I'm guessing they mean like this. So I think the plan is to take as many pictures and video clips as we can. I would like to record early labor because I think that would be interesting. We're technically not allowed to record there, but
yeah,
like,
we'll see.
Will I put up like a birth vlog? I don't know. It'll kind of depend on how vulnerable that feels and what it looks like. We'll for sure do like a birth story where people like talk about what happened. I think those are good to do either way, because even if you watch the birth vlog, you might not be getting like what's actually happening. I don't know that I'm gonna put up, you know, an hour worth of me just like screaming.
I have a gut feeling on this one, y'all. Maybe Jesse disagrees with me. I don't think there's gonna be very much footage. Like first time, like
yeah,
the focus is not gonna be filming. And I will try to, you know, document some things when we're in there, like when we can. The biggest thing is being present, and if recording things is gonna get in the way of that, then we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Is, again, my gut feeling is like, if we film
we'll probably get some clips.
But
I just don't know if it'll be like
like you said, yeah, I could see it just being kind of like,
or like a birth story with some clips in it. So there'll be something. We'll tell you about what happens either way, but I don't know that we'll show all of it. Next question is, are you scared about labor? I think both of us can answer this. Yes, it's something I've been afraid of for a while. I think it's helpful having the doula. She's prepared us a lot. I know that she'll have my back. I'm more confident in our communication style now as well. I'm more confident in my body than I was before, but I'm not 100% confident in my body. So I think that that's where the fear comes in. I've had a very elevated heart rate this entire pregnancy. That makes me really nervous because sometimes it elevates and I can't get it to go back down, and I feel very unsafe. I mean, it's scary. I've never done it before. I don't know what the pain's gonna feel like. Everybody can tell you what it feels like, but you can't know until then, which is why I think we're being so open with like our preferences. But I'm definitely afraid. I'm afraid of having a baby, like literally it being mine. Like it's coming out and then it is mine for the rest of our lives. That part's scary too, is like I have to keep something alive. you know, all the scary things that come with that, like what if you don't connect with it right away, what if, you know, all these things, what if something's wrong. There's definitely fear there, but we're trying to focus on the things that we know and can be prepared for, and then trying to be as relaxed as possible on the other things. Are you afraid for labor?
Yeah, kind of like first trimester in a sense, where like for me, I feel Jesse's like pain and discomfort, and I don't want to see her like that. I'm definitely nervous that I'll see her scared and in pain, and therefore I will be that way. I don't think that will be like my overwhelming experience of it. Like I think that I'll kind of naturally like go into my own zone as a support person. But yeah, definitely fear. And there's so many unknowns, right? It's like it could be super long, we could not sleep, and like we talked about how sleep affects us, and so there's just so many things that are unknown about it, and like first time doing it, I think that's really it, is it's just kind of overwhelming in that sense.
Yeah. What do you most look forward to after pregnancy? I look forward to not being pregnant. I'm hoping that like the super annoying things like the leg cramps, not sleeping. I mean, I know that I'll not be sleeping, but at least when I sleep, I'll be able to sleep, versus now I'm like waking up constantly because things hurt. My hands hurting, like all those things. So I'm looking forward to like the pregnancy symptoms going away. And then obviously I'm looking forward to like meeting this thing that's like kicking me in the ribs all the time, and like seeing what it is, a girl or boy, seeing like how it becomes a human, like seeing us become parents and try to figure that out. I think there are also things that I'm afraid of, but I think it's also things that I'm looking forward to. I think we're at the point now where we're like 4 weeks out from my due date at least, and it's at the point where we kind of just want to get started, because waiting to see what's going to happen is hard. I think Ben and I are pretty good at figuring things out, even if it's not easy in the moment.
Yeah, I think for me it's kind of just like the general things. I'm definitely looking forward to the experience in general. It's something that like I've always wanted to be a dad, and when I think about it, I get like very, like my heart hurts in like a good way. I'm just curious to like have that connection. You know, it's like we love our dogs, but it's like I'm so curious, you know, parents always talk about unlike any other love, and so I'm very curious to experience that. I'm excited for that. Also really looking forward to all of the other relationships within the family. Like I'm really excited for our dogs to meet the baby, and I'm just like, so, and again, curious is like the word that comes to mind. I'm just like so curious to see how they're gonna react, and I think they're gonna be just, you know, super sweet individually. I'm very curious and excited to see how I grow as a person, as a father. I'm going to be my best self. I don't know what that really means or what that looks like, but I really do believe that the best parts of me will come out, and probably through challenge initially. I really do think that I'll be really stepping into a really special part of my life. And then similarly, like relationally, I'm really excited to see Jessie as a mom and just have this other dynamic in our relationship too. You know, instead of just being partners, we're also partners in this, you know, we're a team in this other aspect too. And so I'm excited to see like what that brings into our relationship.
2 more questions. This question is, will you breastfeed, Benjamin?
I will not. I'd probably try.
Yeah, he probably... Yes, the plan is to try. We actually have a meeting with a lactation consultant on Saturday. So
good to know.
Yeah, so we have a couple of sessions with lactation consultant covered by our insurance, which is amazing. So we found one via our doula. Breastfeeding is something that I'm like a little nervous about. I think there's like a lot of pressure put on women to breastfeed, and if you don't breastfeed, you're a bad mom, or you're not taking care of your baby correctly, or you're not feeding it correctly, or whatever. And I don't agree with that. I think that the baby should be fed in the way that is best for the family, no matter how that works. But I would like to try to breastfeed. That is the plan, and we'll see how it goes. I think like my preference would be not to, it would be to exclusively breastfeed, or to exclusively feed the child breast milk. And this may change like when we start breastfeeding, if I like love it and want to do it all the time. but I do think I'm highly sensitive. I get touched out very quickly. Having the option that like Ben can do a night feeding, or if I just like need a minute, that he can feed the baby my breast milk with a bottle, I think is something that is my preference, but we'll kind of see how it goes. But in the beginning, yeah, we're definitely going into it that way. I'm grateful that we have like a lactation consultant that we'll already have an established relationship with. So if I'm having trouble or it's confusing because I've never done it before, my mom didn't breastfeed, so I don't have anyone to like ask about it, we'll have her. The last question is, how are you planning to work after baby since you both work from home? And then with this is like paternity leave versus maternity leave, how that works. If you guys don't know, I work freelance for myself, so I have 2 clients that I work with, and then Ben works from home full-time for a company.
With my company, we have a very generous leave policy, so I have 12 weeks paid leave, which we are just super grateful for. From the logistical side of things, obviously, as we mentioned, we don't have people here. Also, just like selfishly, well, for one, to like be able to support Jesse, but then like selfishly for me to be able to have that much time with my newborn child just seems beautiful. Like I just, yeah, we had a conversation about this earlier. We're not gonna go down this rabbit hole right now because it's too long for this video, but it also just seems like very normal, but also very important. I'm just like very grateful that we have that privilege, that I have that privilege. The loose plan there is I will take most of that time. I can take it up in up to 2 chunks. So I'll take most of that time. I'll get back to work normally. Jesse will take some time off initially, and then the plan is to kind of figure out, go with the flow for you, right? Kind of see like where we want to go, where you want to go.
Yeah, so for me, I don't get maternity leave, obviously, because I work for myself. So that's good and bad, meaning I can take off as much time as I want, but I don't get paid for it. The one good thing, which I mentioned in one of my videos, is one of my clients actually paid me for December, even though I won't be working. So I am planning to stop work in December. It'll kind of be up in the air, like February-ish. Maybe I'll start taking on some stuff, like, or March, I don't know. My one client, I kind of do all the things for her. And then my other client is a blogging client. So with her, or with the person that I work with there, I can very easily be like, hey, can I have like 1 blog every 2 weeks? Slowly get myself back into it. That's the plan with that. So I'll still technically be paid for December and part of January between my 2 clients. So it'll feel kind of paid, but then after that, it won't be paid. From there, we're gonna have to figure it out. I've mentioned this in other videos before, but we have a couple other things that we have to figure out for next year that might impact some of our decisions as well. Ben works full-time from home. His bosses are very family oriented. They all have young children or babies that were just born. Doing something like him baby wearing, him needing to change a diaper in the middle of the day, you know, me running somewhere and Ben being able to still watch the child when necessary will be possible because he'll be home and because his team is very family oriented. But for the most part, I'll be the main caretaker at that point. So we'll kind of see what that looks like as far as my work goes. I would like to still be doing stuff. I'll definitely still be doing YouTube because I love it. Yeah, that kind of is up in the air because it depends what our other decisions are for next year as like what long-term that'll look like. We're not currently looking into any daycares or anything like that. At some point, I think we'll need to occasionally have like a babysitter or something like that, but at least the first probably 6 months, it'll be mostly me and Ben.
Super grateful for me to be in the position that I am with the kind of work that I do and from home. While I have meetings, I'm not like in meetings all day. So, you know, I'm just doing like little nerdy development on my own, sorry. I should have the opportunity to do some of the things like Jesse mentioned. Like I'm like so excited to baby wear just like as I'm working.
Yeah.
Also acknowledging, again, huge privilege.
Right.
You know, we both had dads who were like blue collar growing up and worked a bunch, kind of the typical, didn't see them. Like it was dark in the morning, dark at night when we got to see them and stuff like that. They were both amazing. But this is something that we're super excited about, is that the ability for me to be present is just super cool.
Yeah. So thank you for all of your questions. I'm going to quickly end this because my camera's going to die again. But Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a little long, but I thought it was better to get through all the questions anyway, because I think they're important.
I feel like we hit on like most of the important things.
Yeah.
Too.
And if you have any other questions, leave them down below, and
yeah.
one of us will comment back to you, because he reads my comments too. Thank you so much for watching. We are excited and nervous, and we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, so come on this journey with us.
Yeah. I'll see you in the next video.